So hello and welcome to the Expat Pod. My name is James, your host, and today I'm joined by my lovely friend and colleague Minodora, and you're from Romania, if I'm not mistaken. So please feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, this is Minodora. Yes, I'm from Romania. I'm from a really small town. It's called Moldovan County, let's say, but it's not actually Moldova. Okay, that's a different country. But yeah, I think that's about it.
And where have you lived?
So before UK, I lived most of my life in Romania, and just for a short time in Portugal when I was doing some studies in my Erasmus. That was it. I didn't really live anywhere else.
Perfect. Well, that's wonderful. I guess we'll get into the podcast.
Okay.
So welcome to section 1 of the podcast, all about getting there. So Minodora, you said this is like touch the Portugal bit a little bit because it's quite interesting to people as an Erasmus, because it's obviously an opportunity that people have, especially in Europe. I know of. I don't know too much about the rest of the world for Erasmus students, but I know I've got a lot of friends from Brazil who've moved to the UK for work. But why did you choose the Erasmus exchange?
So I chose it because of my cousin. She did 2 Erasmus, one for her bachelor and one for I think her thesis at the end of the doctorate. When she came back from both of them, she went in Portugal and in France, and I was like kind of like I want to do this as well. I had no clue. I didn't really knew what this is about. I know that it's like going with studies into another country and then you just go back home. Nothing really happens after the study. But she told me just go to Portugal. You'll love it. So hand to heart, Portugal and Erasmus was one of the best experience. That's like, if I'm ever speaking about a university or something, that's me going there all the time. That's like the best time of my life. I don't know. It was just a 6-month time, but that was one of the best experience that I ever lived. This is where I made a lot of friends. This is where my English improved a lot because since then I didn't really use it. I was coming from the school and university where we never really used English, just like the ordinary courses. So this is where I actually improved myself. On an independent person as well. I learned how to deal with finances on my own and careful with people who I'm hanging out with because I didn't want to make bad choices. But it was really one of the best time of my life. I really don't regret taking this decision, and I'm always happy that my cousin encouraged me to go to Portugal.
And which school in Portugal did you end up exchanging with?
So the one I chose was one that was on the list for my university, and it is Porto Universidade de Porto. And
did you have lots of port?
Well, no. Yeah, maybe just a bit. I'm a bit maybe a bit too much in some cases, but yeah, I think the introduction when I got there, because I remember it was like yesterday. It was me and a friend going there for the Erasmus. And when we got to the airport, I was clueless. I can't really understand what was in my head. I had no idea where I'm going, like accommodation. Who's picking us up from the airport? My friend, she was the one that she was dealing with all of this. And after one of her friends, somebody, I can't remember how this person got to take us from the airport. She introduced us to some parties, like Portuguese parties, and they had these drinking games. I was out in 5 seconds. I was like, how can these people drink so much and still learn so much? It was like a dilemma. I never got to it, and like never. It was a really great time. But I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, part of university, well, for me, it was all about the drinking culture as well as the studying came second. It's all about the socializing, because like for me, my undergraduate degree was kind of like how to Google stuff. Even though it's engineering, but you had to learn like equations and things, but like a lot of the more essay work was just how to research. Effectively, it's Googling initially, and like what questions to ask, like what to look for in a library or something. So I was like, oh, well, that's not too difficult to do. So I can go out with my friends and play sport, which is what I tended to do for the start of university. Yeah, but yeah, it's I've not been to Porto, so I'll have to go.
You should. It's
Yeah,
a lovely place. I visited last year on a celebration for my 10th year after going back from Porto. The best time for me is like the pinnacle of this whole experience is for 24th of June. There is a celebration. It's called São João. It's like Saint John, if you want. I can't express in words how cool this celebration is. You're eating sardines on the street. There are fireworks in the night, concerts, party people everywhere. There is like a hammer made from like inflatable hammers, if you want, and they have this squeaky thingy in it. So when you hit it, it makes a noise. Everybody has that, and they just hit people around like everywhere. It's crazy. In like 10, 11 years ago, I was like, I couldn't believe it because people like were hitting each other even if they don't know each other. They're like really a big family. And for me, it was like, what is this? I had so much fun, so I got back to it, and I do.
I mean, it's a pretty good icebreaker. Just like hit someone with a inflatable hammer.
Yeah. There are concerts everywhere in the city. I think last year there were like 3 stages. It's really a great place to be.
So that's 24th of July or June, you said?
24th of June. This is how I think it's 24th of June, yeah.
That's the day after Midsummer in Sweden. So you could do back-to-back, do a Midsummer, and then jump on a plane to Porto.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so then I guess there wasn't much you needed to do in terms of preparation for going on your Erasmus, because I guess it was handled by the university apart from when you got there.
It was quite extensive. Romania is very difficult on this bureaucratic side of things. Just doing a file for this Erasmus was a pain. I think it took me like a couple of months. Getting signatures for this kind of people, going back and forth. I remember it was quite extensive. I just chose to forget about it. So that wasn't really something I ever wanted to go back to.
And did any of your friends do an Erasmus in different countries or cities?
I think I met some of the people afterwards. They were doing. I remember one of my colleagues from the high school. He did one in Spain, and he was also in love with this. I think Erasmus, anyway, for any kind of student, is really great. I don't know anyone that came back from an Erasmus and they were like, oh, I don't like it. I didn't like it. No, everybody just found it amazing. Porto had a program where they assign 3 people for you to introduce you in the culture.
Oh, wow.
So they will get you and, I don't know, present you some really nice shops, some really nice pastry shops, some really nice and interesting events. I remember I went to these concerts and I don't know, it was just amazing.
Wow, yeah, it's so nice of them to help you out. Like, because I don't know, and we'll probably get onto this a bit later, but moving as an adult or being an adult in another country is quite difficult. But I guess having people there to like literally engulf you into society is such a lovely thing for them to have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going back to like not meeting someone who hasn't enjoyed an Erasmus, I think most of my friends who are international are because they've done an Erasmus what I've been studying. And because I play volleyball, it's quite an international sport anyway, but most of them are Erasmus students who play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of my friends live all over the world because of A, volleyball, and B, Erasmus students. So it's a great opportunity to definitely live and learn and enjoy foreign cultures. Kind of going forward then to your move to the UK, was that for work or for something else?
Yeah. At the time, I was working for Renault in Romania. So I remember it was like a culture back then. A lot of people were going abroad to work. I wasn't having like a really bad salary, but I was just contemplating if I want to buy a house or something, I really needed a lot more. So when I applied for a job in the UK, I was thinking maybe I should just go there for 2 years and then come back and just, I don't know, use the savings to buy a house. Fast forward, I bought a house here. So everything kind of changed when I got here. But yeah, in the beginning, it was because of my career.
And did you move by yourself, or did you move with your partner? Or...
So at the beginning, it was just me. I always thought about it like setting the nest. So I came here alone, but he was lucky. My husband, he was lucky to get a job as well, and he followed me next month.
You were already married before you moved?
No, back then we were just partners.
And what was that like then, the unknown? Because I've moved and my girlfriend stayed in the UK and I'm going back now. But it was quite difficult, I guess, the start of the unknown is quite puts a strain on relationship.
So again, back in Romania, this is like a culture. I grew up with people that were leaving families to go and work abroad. So for me, it wasn't like really that bad. I always thought, hey, if this is gonna work out, it's gonna work out no matter what. So I was a bit afraid because I'm still I'm a lone person anyway. But yeah, I think difficulty is one of the words I would use at the beginning. At least I found out that he got another also a job.
And is he in the same industry as you as well?
Yes, he is. We used to work, both of us, in Renault.
Oh, that's lovely. And then I guess when you moved to the UK, did you find a job to apply for and then apply for it, or did you speak to recruiters, or what was the process in looking for work from
So
what was for you?
Yeah, I know there was like these platforms where you will just put your CV up. And I remember a recruiter was calling me and he was like, hey, I have this job for you. But this happened like so quickly because I wasn't really prepared for it. It just it took me on surprise as well. I just submitted my CV and then this recruiter called me, hey, I think I have a job for you. This is it. Do you want to apply for it? And I said, sure, why not? Let's just go ahead. I really had no hope. I was like, I didn't have much experience on that CAD job that I applied. At least this is what I thought. Next day, the manager called, and the next day, the recruiter called, and he told me, hey, yesterday you got in, but I wanted to tell you in the first thing in the morning. I was like, what? I couldn't really believe it. And I remember I called my mom. She was the first one to find out. And I was like, what do you think? Should I go? And my mom, always an advocate for going abroad. She saw so many people going abroad and getting so much, I don't know, happiness in their life. And they were happy and they were doing so many stuff. And she was, yeah, go for it.
I mean, you're right. It's a good analogy or good observation. Your mum said about people who go abroad, they come back with so much energy and excitement about what they're seeing and how it's all, because usually it's sweet. And
you have
something to literally write home about. So.
My mom, she was like praying. You should find. I remember when I was in my Erasmus, she was like, find a job there. Don't come back. Yeah, she was an advocate for this.
But it's interesting because you were saying about like in the Romanian culture of people go abroad to work. Obviously that's not really something I have grown up with because being in the UK, you tend to. My parents haven't moved house since I was born, so they've not left the country for work, and they've always just kind of worked in Liverpool. Whereas, yeah, I see more and more. Like my neighbour here, Bothos, he's Polish, and his family, his wife and 2 children are in Poland, and he comes to work at Volvo, works I think 2 weeks, and then drives home, works a week in Poland, and then comes back, and it's like it seems like such a tough life, but I guess the opportunity here in Sweden is much better than what he would have had at home to provide for his family. And it's like, you have such an empathy for this,
yeah,
which I know a lot of people in the UK maybe don't have, or at least like in British families. Obviously now we're becoming more inclusive, and through meeting great people like yourself and talking about it, people are gaining the empathy because they're aware of actually, people just have to do it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've never appreciated as much until you mentioned it then, and then I think of my neighbour here, and it's just so interesting to have to consider and how lucky we all are, and
yeah, no, definitely in Romania, this was at least a couple of years back. This was definitely a culture. In my hometown, if I'm looking like on my balcony from my mother's place, the flats around are all empty. People just went abroad and they never come back. So sometimes when I go back home, this happens like so rare. I feel like I'm in a ghost town.
Oh God. Which is quite funny because Ghost Town is a song about Coventry.
Oh, okay.
I think it's about, well, the Specials wrote it and they are from Coventry. So it's quite interesting how you use that exact term. So you've gone from one ghost town. So back to your move then. From getting the offer, how long did it take you to, I guess, up sticks and leave?
I remember it took me 3 weeks because
That's no time.
in 3 weeks I actually left work. So I had 1 week. I came here 1 week before I actually started my job. So in that week I was just going, see the shopping, see the city. I don't know, find it out. How is it to be in the UK? But I really wasn't. I mean, I had already had this experience firsthand with my Erasmus. It didn't feel stressful at all. I came again. I don't know what happened. Sometimes I don't think. Maybe that's it. I just came here and I was staying at some friends for 2 weeks because the person I was about to move in an apartment, they had to go like to this kind of inventory. Somebody was moving out and the company had to do like an inventory for the apartment, so I couldn't move straight away in there. But this person that I was talking, I never met before. I had no clue who he was. And then I was like asking everyone because there were so many Romanians that I knew and they were working already in here. And I was asking around, hey, do you have a place for me maybe for just 2 weeks? Because until then, the apartment is going to be ready. And I just couldn't find anyone. And then somebody just told me, hey, what about this couple? I know them. They're really great. And I stayed with them for 2 weeks. And when they got me from the airport, I was like, this is like a very good chance to get murdered. I have no clue where I'm going and who am I staying with. This is the best.
I mean, obviously you didn't get murdered because you're talking now. But
I'm grateful, yeah.
It's quite a scary thing. Like, it's quite a risk people take. And trust.
I just don't think this is it.
Well, you think you're putting out that people are nice rather than the other way around of being scared of them. So I think you need to manifest the nice people you're going to stay with.
Yeah, this is a trait of mine. I always see just the good stuff in people, never see the bad.
I mean, I'd love to see world from your eyes then, because I don't do that. And then, so where was it you moved to in the UK? Was it the Midlands where you're living now?
It was actually in Leamington Spa. It's such a nice city. I always loved this city. I always loved it. Before moving there, one of my friends told me, "Hey, this city is like your hometown. It's like this same size, only like a lot more vivid. I don't know." And I really loved it. I think from the day one, I was like, I'm so in love with this city. It's so pretty, so beautiful. And I think one of the most beautiful stuff that I found when I came here was that everybody was talking to you with these terms. It's like, hi, love. Hi, my darling. How are you, my sunshine? I wasn't used to this. With this all this, I was overwhelmed. Sometimes I felt like crying. Like, people really do this? Like on a norm? I didn't really believe it. It was very strange for me.
Yeah, we have a lot of words for like hello and like different ways in which like hi chick, and then every city has a different like favorite, I guess, like a word you would say to someone like darling or love or pet or something, you know. It is a wonderful thing we have in the UK.
You have no idea how much this helped with this transition. I remember when I started working, I was going to we had like a small canteen in our place where I was working in my building. And the ladies in there, they made me so emotional, like from the first day. They're like, hi, Sunshine, how I can help you, my love? So I was like, I already love you. No, that was one of the best experiences at the beginning. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, that's a great way of ending the first part of the podcast. you've got there and everyone's calling you love. So wonderful. And we'll see you in section 2.
Okay.
So hello and welcome back, and welcome to section 2 of the podcast. That sounded weird. This is all about being there. So this is where Minodora, I'll just try and find some great anecdotes or advice you've had or experiences you've had of living in the UK. We'll probably focus on that mostly than your student times in Portugal, but you please feel free to share any moments about that as well. But the main thing is the kind of culture differences you may have experienced between the two countries. But firstly, what was we kind of touched on your first experience of worrying about not being murdered, but not worrying about it. But looking back and but your first impression of the UK, apart from everyone being so friendly when they greet you, what was that like? What did you think, apart from maybe the weather being bad or something?
So what I remember is a couple of things that kind of made my life a bit weird at the beginning. One of them was, anyway, all this craziness with paperwork, doing like bank accounts and whatever. So what I will just ask from people coming or moving to a different country, just have patience. Everything will be dealt with patience as soon as it possibly can. I struggled quite a lot. The bank didn't agree for 2 months to create an account number from different reasons. Sometimes the system just dropped. Sometimes it was something from the paperwork that I had. I don't know. It just took me 2 months. So it was 2 months until I got my first paycheck.
Oh, wow.
It were 2 paychecks in one. But anyway, it was a bit difficult and I was stressing a lot. I didn't know what happened. But yeah, just have patience. Everything will get it eventually. And another stuff that kind of blew me off was this reservation of people from work to interact. I was coming from Renault. Renault, it's a French company where people just every morning they kiss on the cheek, they say hello, they shake hands. So now I'm coming to this place where even when I'm like introducing myself and I extending my hand, hi, I'm Minodora, people would look at my hand and be very, hi, welcome.
What's in your hand?
I was like, welcome. I was feeling like an intruder. But yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that happened. That's not what most of the UK is like.
I mean, that was one of the experiences that I got with my other workplace. But with Polestar, it was completely the opposite. Yeah, it was so much different. I mean, Polestar is like a family to me. So it's really, I can't express how happy I was, at least at the beginning with everybody when we were like a really small team. That was like a complete opposition from the other place I used to work. Another stuff that I kind of made me really homesick, to be honest, was the food. Oh my God, I can't remember. I back home you just find restaurants and everywhere, and they have like a really big menu. And here you go to like a pub because these are like the general restaurants are stuff that were like places that I wouldn't really go. And they will have like fish and chips, burgers, and not much choice of not very big variety of stuff to choose from. And I was like very disappointed. Like, I'm gonna starve here. So I ended up cooking a lot. I learned how to cook a lot of dishes, a lot of Romanian dishes from scratch, things that I'd never done before.
What is your favorite Romanian dish then? I'm not too familiar with Romanian cuisine. But,
I would have liked to keep it a secret because there is like a diversity thing with cooking recipes on our parallax. So I wanted to put there the recipe. So I want to say it.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you can leave it in a comment after you've told me what, and we'll put it on social media or something when you've made it public and work.
Yeah.
But if it's in the next 13 weeks, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I should be. Actually, yeah, you're kind of right. No, should I say it now?
I mean, I won't do spoilers.
Yeah. It's anyways like if you wanna. Okay, I'm gonna just say it. Forget it. I'm gonna just say it because it's gonna be a really long time after this parallax thingy. So it's something that my mom used to do when I was a child. I never actually saw anyone else doing it. I don't know why my mom just did it for me. So I just assumed that when I was growing up that it was like a Romanian dish. But I don't know, maybe she just invented it and I really loved it. It's like boiled potatoes and then you split them in half, make a cup, how to say it? You're making
Ish.
like a hole inside where you put some kind of fillings made out of pate, put
Okay.
together, like coat it with stuff and then fry it. So I can't explain how much. Oh my god! Now I'm hungry.
It's like a Scotch egg.
What?
A Scotch egg. It's not a Scotch egg, but it's like a Scotch egg.
No, it's nothing like a Scotch egg.
No, I mean the
Has
construction.
eggs inside.
Look,
And it has like
yeah,
a very big coat of meat or whatever. No, this is like
yeah.
this is so different. If I'm gonna cook it, you're gonna be the first to see the pictures.
No, I don't mean the flavor or the filling is the same, but the idea of it like being something inside something and then coated and
I'm
fried.
so hungry now. Yeah.
It's good to get dinner time soon. Oh wow, that's so cool. And then, so how long did it take you to make that, to learn to make that when you first moved?
This particular dish is very easy to make. It takes
Hmm.
like 20 minutes. I don't really make it this often because there is a lot of oil to use, which I don't like. I normally don't have oil in my house. I don't fry stuff.
Oh, you can get an air fryer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that could be a way of doing it.
It's gonna work. Yeah, you need to deep fry these potatoes to be really tasty. But the rest of the recipes, it kind of depends on the recipe. I think the first time I cooked, it's called kozonak. It's one of our traditional cakes that we do, like Christmas, Easter. It's very, very traditional. And I remember I started somewhere like 11 o'clock and finished it by 12 in the night. It took me like
Wow.
12 hours. I was so clueless. I was just mixing everything and then figure out, nah, this one's supposed to go here. Just a fiasco. But the end product was good, was tasty. That was what actually mattered the most.
But also, like, the fact it took you so long to do it, the pride in what you've made.
You have no idea. Everybody knew. Everybody from my friends. I made kozonak. I was feeling like such an achiever.
What are the flavors of kozomak?
Yeah, it's actually kozonak.
Because of neck, sorry, apologies. I haven't got a neck.
No worries. It's like a marble cake.
Oh,
Yeah, only it has
making the marbles difficult.
Turkish delight in it. Has a lot of stuff that I really enjoy. And now I'm hungrier and hungrier. This podcast is a very, very hungry session for me.
You can have like a Romanian feast of like home food when when we leave this call.
I am actually about to go to a barbecue, which is like a Romanian barbecue. So
And how does a Romanian barbecue differ from a British barbecue?
So one of the first things is you don't have meat.
What, sorry?
It's called meat. It's something made out of like a mix of meats. We call them meat. In translation, I think it's like little something. It's very weird, but they look like shish, maybe to you. The taste
Yeah.
was different, but I'm quite sure if you'll try it, you'll love it.
Oh, good to know. And I guess so. You kind of the food thing, which comes up quite a lot on this. I guess.
Maybe because I'm hungry.
No, not you. As in, like the people I speak with, like food, no matter where they've moved to or from.
Well, I think this is
Food from home is always what people want.
yeah.
You eat 3 times a day mostly, and you've always grown up with certain dishes. Like for me, my mum used to make me make my family pea soup or lentils, and now I'm obsessed with because I don't eat meat really. So this soup is just like it reminds me of winter at home, and it's wholesome, and you have like really nice crispy bread. And like I learned to make it when I moved for university because I was like, I missed this. And like there's things like that, which like as you mentioned with the fried potato. It's what your childhood was. So it's such a link home, and like it's really interesting thinking about like the amount of people that I've spoken to now, and food is such a popular item, even if like it's not a well-known dish.
Yeah.
It means something to you.
I totally, absolutely agree with you. I remember when I came here, I tried curry for the first time in the canteen back at work. I absolutely hate it. I was like, why do people enjoy this? I just didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe it was one of the worst curry ever. Because then a couple of years after, I tried it again when I went to Thailand. It was kind of one of the stuff that I could eat in there. And when I came back home, I actually enjoyed going from Indian restaurants just to try every type of curry. And now I'm addicted. I can't. I mean, I I have I have days or weeks when I'm really hungry. Should we go to eat to that place? Just get some curry. But it's not actually because of hunger. I just want that.
Yeah, no, completely. And like curry is such an interesting because there's so many different types, and different bases for curry. I'm not a connoisseur at all. I spent a lot of hours in curry houses after playing sport. Yeah, and it's just like there's a Thai food restaurant in Gothenburg where I live, which is an amazing like green curry and red curry. So I was actually, when Evie was here last, we went with her friend who came to visit as well. And it was like such an amazing meal. But I think it has to be made properly. Like in Leamington, we're blessed with a few good Indian restaurants, and like Khayyam is my favorite one because it's South Indian. Yeah, but again, like, it's just so weird. It's interesting. Like food is, I guess, because we eat, we sleep, and then we live, and like the eating part is quite a big part of our food. Is such like an instigator of conversation, of activity. Yeah, it's quite interesting. And then I guess another question that I'm interested to know about is when you first moved, did you make many friends? As you said, you knew a lot of Romanians who lived in the UK, but did you start to make friends with people who were British or from other parts of the world? Was it more internationals you were friendly with as opposed to British people?
So again, I think I'm getting back to that reservation of people. I mean, I wouldn't really have places where to meet friends because I wasn't really going out. And all we did at the beginning was getting back together with people I already knew, like our Romanian friends, and then through them meet other people and make friends with them. Even nowadays, I don't think I have many other nationality friends except Romanian. Maybe like at work we just get along with, but don't really spend time or make, I don't know, go to events like with my friends, and they are different nationality, which is kind of sad. But I don't know. I just didn't really find somebody that was on my level. Well, and I don't know, getting on the same interest, let's say. I don't know.
I mean, you did come climbing that one time.
Yeah, I was lucky with this health challenge work. Yeah. But again, it was like one thing. We never really like, we do barbecues, we go to birthday parties. I never went on this kind of occasions to somebody which is not Romanian. This sounds sad now, but that's actually true for me.
Is that something you? I guess is that out of choice? It's not way out of choice, is it? It's just maybe because it's familiar, like because it's familiar to socialize with many people, and for them it's familiar to, I guess, the social culture. Everyone just gets it, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's kind of on the right person, you know. Maybe I think I'm a really easygoing and fun person to be, but if people don't feel the same around me, they won't like extend an invitation on this level. I always get people around and say, hey, come to a movie with me. Hey, let's go to this gin and rum festival. Hey, let's go to this event that I found on LinkedIn. It's really interesting. But at some point, this just turns out only like a one thing. It never turns out like more.
Well, next time I'm in Leamington Spa, you can come for brunch with Evie and I.
Oh, my
I think I'll be back soon in June.
I'm here. I'm coming back from China at the beginning of June.
Oh, of course.
Exciting.
Great. Well, I'll be wanting to hear all about China.
Okay. I'm gonna save
Wonderful.
only the good stuff.
Or the Baojou you'll be drinking.
I actually have no clue what's going to happen there. So I'm just trying to again the same stuff like the first 2 times I'm leaving somewhere. I'm just gonna be clueless when I go there. I just want to be surprised. Hit me up with everything you have, guys.
I guess back to life in the UK. One thing which probably happened, or definitely did happen, during your time in the UK was COVID.
Yeah.
How did that affect you in terms of your? So I have a few friends who moved back home. Like my Bulgarian friend who's living in London, and he moved back home because of COVID, and stayed in Bulgaria.
Mhm.
I know they're neighbours with Romania, which is the extent of my. And he was saying, yeah, because of COVID, he went back, and then speaking with some Portuguese colleagues we had, if they didn't have jobs, then they would have also gone back, because obviously being so far from your family was so difficult, and no one knew what was going on. So did that ever cross your mind about moving back home for COVID, or?
So first of all, I think COVID for me it's like a sweet and sour experience on the level. When the pandemic hit and everything kind of turned out upside down, I got fired. I lost my job. Yeah, and in the same time, the same happened to my husband. So we were like both of us jobless.
That's so scary.
It was very scary, and we were like cutting off every subscription for everything, like Netflix, everything. We were just cutting and taking like a lot of finance checking just to see how long we can stay in the UK in this kind of situation without running all of our savings. So we kind of set a goal. If we don't find a job in more than 6 months, we're just gonna go back home. We really didn't know what happened, but I had this feeling just before the pandemic hit. I had the interview at Polestar, and I had this feeling: don't go yet, don't go yet, don't go yet. So I got another interview, and I got accepted. So I was jobless for 3 months. My husband was for 6 months. I think he felt a lot more. It was a lot more stressful for him, because he was like trying to figure out how we can work it on only with one of us working and still pay the bills and do everything we need to sustain ourselves in here. True, a lot of our friends, they left UK and they went back home. But in the same time, we kind of started developing a new norm. We were walking a lot because back home you needed like a paper to prove that you have this motive to go out from the house, and you were visiting a doctor or something. It was like a declaration, if you want. But in here, you didn't really need it, especially in Leamington, where it's such a small place. Police wasn't like very brutal, like you need to stay indoors or something. No, it wasn't the case. So we were just walking a lot. And I remember that we found so many beautiful paths in Leamington because of this. We also kind of did a lot of activities. I learned so many courses back then. I read so many books. I was doing like binge watching a lot. I think this was the time when I saw all the Marvel characters, the Marvel movies, everything. It just happened, everything that time, which was good in a way and bad in another way. But still, I think it was something that we all experienced it in a way, and we learned from it and kind of grew with it.
Yeah, I think COVID for me, I took the one exercise a day quite far. I was like, I'm going to run a half marathon. I'm going to go cycle for 3 hours because I think we could go for once per day. And I moved home, right, to my parents' house because I was living in Leamington at the start of COVID. And I lived in a flat with no outdoor space. I didn't really fancy not being able to like go outside. So I went to my parents who lived near a beach. It's about 1 kilometer away from a beach. I only have a dog and a garden. I was like, maybe stuck somewhere for 12 weeks. Then it's going to be there. Obviously, ended up being a lot longer than that. But it was, yeah. Again, similar to you saying like COVID is such a Jekyll and Hyde. You know, of course, it was horrific that our lives got put on hold, and I had a trip to South Africa booked, and like the week after lockdown, which got cancelled.
Oh,
And
we had some plans. That was the year when we were supposed to get married. And that was also the year when we were supposed to have like 1 month honeymoon in the Central America, visiting Cuba, Mexico, and Costa Rica. All of it got blown away.
Have you since been to Mexico, Cuba, and Costa Rica?
We just couldn't do it afterwards. No.
Well, I hope you go. Maybe you can make a nice anniversary gift. But so, how long did you have to then wait to get married?
We actually got married in 2021. So
The year after.
yeah, it was still pandemic back then, but we just chose to do it because some of the rules were a bit more okayish.
Yeah, I think there was like a period where weddings were on again.
Yeah, that was us.
Yeah.
No, everything was shut down. Nothing else happened.
Well,
Yeah, literally in Romania, that was the last night. After that night, everything got shut down, like events and stuff. Nothing would just happen. Nothing. Everything got closed down.
oh, wow. It's so crazy thinking back at it wasn't that long ago, right? But it feels like forever ago. Yeah, like two different worlds. But wonderful. And I guess my last question for you before we kind of wrap this bit up, because we've been talking for 25 minutes, is what's the biggest change you've noticed between living in the UK and living in Romania?
So I would think that everything like paperwork, it's a lot more easier to do in the UK. Romania has, or used to have, I don't know, maybe with COVID everything changed. But it used to have such a extensive bureaucracy system that really made like everyone crazy and sad and frustrated at the same time. I remember just before coming to the UK, I came into the UK in February, and just a year before that, in December, we decided to buy a car. From the moment we paid for the car until it got registered, it took us a month and a half. All that paperwork, it took a month and a half. When I came here, I just remember it was like, hi, I would like to see the car. We saw the car, and then everything was ready on the phone, on the app in 1 hour, like everything, paperwork, everything. Just after an hour, we just left and the car was on our name. And I was so blown away. I was like, oh, I like this life now.
So much quicker.
So much quicker. Everything was so fast. Even moving to a new home, buying a new house, everything was like on internet, having chats or emails and having this platform where we just submit everything you need. No hassle, no stress, just lovely. I liked it. That was one of the biggest change I noticed compared to Romania.
It's the convenience of living.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Wow, what a great way of ending this section, and thank you. So hello and welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to section 3, which I still haven't named. My dad actually sent me a message saying to call it tips or something, or top tips. But if that's a good idea, we can do that. But for me, it's a recap of your time, and the first thing is like if you could go back in time and tell the you which is about to go and you have your ticket in your hand to move to the UK, anything, a bit of advice. What would you say? What would you tell yourself? What would you warn yourself for? Maybe not getting murdered would be the first thing. But other than that, which you haven't been done, obviously.
Okay, it's a bit weird now. Anyway, when I came to the UK, first of all, it was before Brexit, so everything was a lot more different. I think now people coming to the UK, they need, again, coming back to one of the stuff I already said, be patient. I don't know exactly what the process is, but I think it's a bit more difficult now because of the Brexit. I remember I didn't really had to prove. I know a language. I didn't have to prove a lot of stuff. Maybe now they do. But again, every information that you need, it's on Gov.uk. I think you already heard this like 100 times, James. But everything that anyone is gonna have to consider about moving into the UK, you should have a look on this gov.uk. It's a great place where you can find like a lot of information straight from the government. They are very well explained. And in case you need like a translation or something, they can provide this as well. I think the system itself is quite friendly, and if you want to have a discussion with somebody regarding anything, you just search for a phone number in that particular case that you need, and somebody will pick up and explain to you whatever you need. I didn't actually need it back then when I moved to the UK, except maybe doing an appointment for my national insurance. That was the only call I had to make. It wasn't really that difficult. You just have to be present in the UK and have an UK number, so people will believe you're in the UK and want to do something in the UK. But except that, nothing else. Is just reading whatever you need. When I came in here, I had to set up an LTD because I came as a contractor. That was a bit of another area where I had to do a lot more work. But I think now this is kind of difficult for anyone, and I don't really know if I should recommend it or not. But I think it's easier to go with an umbrella. You just give them the details, and they just take care of you.
Absolutely. Also, get a bank, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many great, like, Revolut, you can make different bank accounts in different currencies. Because like when I moved to Sweden, I had a similar issue. Like, the government is a bit slower. Well, feels slower. Maybe it's just because my limited Swedish. But Brexit was quite a scary thing. Like, I had to apply for a visa. I had to wait for the visa to come through. And then when I moved here, I had to go to migration services and get my, work permit card. And then go and get my personal number, which is my national insurance number. I had to go queue at a physical office and then do it. And then I waited like 16 weeks for that to arrive. And then once I got that, I can go get a bank account. And then when you get a bank account, you get bank ID. And then bank ID lets you do stuff in Sweden, which is quite a drawn out process.
Probably the same will happen to anyone coming now to the UK. Back then, I didn't need a visa. I was in the European Union, so I was working as an European citizen. Yeah, it was.
So when that changed, then was it something you had to apply for residency or?
Yeah, because of the Brexit, I had to apply for the residency, and this year I'm also started applying for my citizenship, which is exciting. And I'm learning all this great stuff about UK culture and history that I had no clue.
I mean, so my friend Johnny, who is on the podcast as well, he has just got his, I think. But I remember he was doing his exam, and he was like, I was asking him, well, what questions are on there? And he was like, oh, it's about, this person, that person. And I was like, I don't know.
I know.
Why would I need to know that information? Like, the voting stuff, yeah, I get it. Politics, yeah, I get it. But like the history side, okay, it's probably nice to know, and I should have an appreciation for, but I don't need it in my day-to-day life. So, yeah, maybe it's my ignorance, but I guess not needing to know something means if you're busy or lazy, like I probably am both of those things, that you just don't really care, and then you see people having to study random bits of information.
Yeah, it's just another process, isn't it? You just tick it and that's it. It was very funny, the English test, to be honest. It was like a 10-minute talk in this place where they give you a certificate and they say, yeah, this person knows English. After living in UK for 6 years, it's kind of weird not to, it's very weird not to. But anyway, you need a certificate.
I mean, it depends on what part of England you live in.
Okay. From my point of view, it's just another tick there. So you get a knowledge that, okay, yeah, you're okay to live in the UK.
I mean, you could have had a good Scouse accent. I can say that because I'm from Liverpool. But if you had a Scouse accent, I'm like, oh, does she know English? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, this will be another tip, maybe. Just be patient with people's accents. When I came here, it was terrible. I mean,
yeah, because
the English that I knew was American English. The best thing is for yourself. Just look around on YouTube and anywhere. There are so many channels where you can learn some English spoken by
British English.
Yeah, English, and like acknowledge the difference. Because I think I kept saying this to all my to all my colleagues now. But when I came here, like in the first days, I spilled coffee or something on my trousers. That's the word. But what I said was like, I need some napkins. I just spilled trousers on my pants. Here you go, you're laughing. In my head, I was like, why is this person laughing? But yeah, pants are not the same with trousers in the UK, people.
No.
So
No, yeah. Trousers got overpants, yeah.
Try to make a little bit of effort and just learn some British words. Yeah, and accents. It's a thing that is like a hit and miss. When I joined Post, I started working with one of our colleagues, which is from Ireland, and I remember I was like, Minodora, you need to focus now. You need to focus now. What is this person saying? I was terrified. At some point, I was like saying, can you please say that again for like 3 times in a row? I was like, I'm just spoilers. I can't get this.
I mean, it's funny because one of your colleagues, Matt, he and I grew up like 3 miles apart.
No.
Yeah, so I can cycle to where he's from in like half an hour or something, and I think we sound completely different. But and in the UK, that's how it is. Like every town or city has its own dialect, which is quite.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really has like in Romanian. Does it have a straight city?
So
Speaks differently, or
from my hometown, there is actually an accent. Actually, not from the hometown itself, from the region, Moldovan region, which is different from the other places. But I always was kind of happy that I never really picked up on that accent. So when I was studying in Bucharest, people were like, "Where are you from? You don't have an accent." But I'm really good at languages, so I pick up accents really fast. When I was studying in Portugal, I studied Portuguese and like an intense course, and I was able after 1.5 months to speak as a native. Again, my accent was a bit weird, so people were like, "Are you from Brazil?" There was something, but I always like picked up accents.
That's such a great skill to have.
Different, yeah. With English was different. I remember I was feeling so scared that I wouldn't understand people, and they want to understand me back, because this is something that even nowadays happen. People just see me and they are ready for, I don't know, different kind of language and accent, and then when I speak, they are not prepared for an accent, and they're like, "Come again." It makes me funny. But this is me. I have an accent probably, and I speak in a way that they are not probably expecting to.
But everyone has an accent.
Yeah.
Like people think I'm Swedish, but when I walk into a shop, they speak Swedish to me, and Evie as well, because we're both tall and she's blonde, and we're like, "What? No, English svenska."
Don't speak Swedish.
I mean, obviously it is Sweden, so they should speak Swedish. So I could now but I can now order some like food and drinks. But as soon as it goes past that bit of dialect, I am very much lost.
Coming back to roots, English it is.
Yeah, I mean, on the English level here is so much better than in England. So quite funny. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Is there any advice you want to give to anyone listening or watching? That matter, like on moving abroad or traveling in general?
One of other stuff that I would probably recommend is just be careful with exactly the job you're looking into. I mean, I know people that started working in the UK and then they just decided it's not for them, so they went back home. Just decide if this is really the good path. I do encourage anyone to try it. This can turn out one of the best experiences. For me, I already said this. I came into the UK with a plan for staying here just for 2 years. I never left. Okay. But one of the things is I would always recommend try it. And if this costs you maybe losing some, I don't know, connections, maybe spending time with family, just try it. You never know. Maybe you're gonna bring the family back with you. You never know. Just try it.
And you can always go back, as you said as well. Well, hopefully you can. Obviously, there's some people who can't go back, but the majority of people who do move for work are able to go home. If it's not right. Wow. And then to end on a lighter note, what's your favorite British saying?
Let's see, a favorite British saying. I don't know. I just love that thing that everybody say. How are you, my love? I just love it. It just has love in it. How can you not love it?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, yeah, I've had dilly dally before, and like, yeah,
We know that.
we make loads of random noises with our mouths, and then become a description for something. But yeah, no, it is lovely how we do, yeah, greet so warmly.
Yeah.
We might not greet with physical contact like in France or further parts of Europe, but we do it with words.
Yeah, that's it. Words do matter.
It's a vocal hug.
Yeah, indeed. Not so well put.
Well, thanks so much, Minodora, for like spending your time indulging me with like my silly questions and sharing your story of traveling and living abroad. It's been so nice to hear it and explore it more. It's something that I've said to all my guests, like spending time talking about one topic, be it you're moving somewhere else, I think really helps appreciate the struggles or the kind of journey that someone's come on. And I feel I know people a lot better, a lot more closer, because you've not just skimmed the surface of several topics, you've gone a lot more, in depth on one topic. So thank you for agreeing to be part of this. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward for the next one then.
Yeah, and the one after that, and after that.
Thank you for having me as well.
Always. And if you did, or people listening did find something really useful, or want to ask another question or find out some information, please do get in touch. I'm sure I can forward any remaining specific questions to the Minodora and get back to everyone. But yeah, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Always happy to.
Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.